All right, that's up and running. I understand I'm going to have to close out the YouTube from my screen for it to play correctly.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's up and running. Yep, and it's on delay. So it seems like we're up and running now on YouTube. Yep, live. All right, we're good. We're going to get started at 6 on the spot, so we're not waiting, just to be clear. Because we have 2 back-to-back and people have things to do, I'm sure.
Hold on, Jason. There's a email error. Yeah, I'll send that to you real quick.
We have a tech error. Okay.
So sorry about that. There was Justin's email was I just forwarded the correct link. He should be logging on now.
Any news on Eddie?
I didn't. Not sure. Have not heard from him.
All right. Well, we'll wait for Justin and then we'll get started then.
Okay.
Like that. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Well, while we're doing that, if Sita and Corey are okay with it, I'll just make a brief introduction here while we wait for Justin.
Okay.
All right. Sita, you're okay with that? Yes? Good? Thumbs up? Well, here comes Justin anyway. See,
Yeah,
that was my stall tactic. Thank you, Sita. Thank you, Corey. Now I'll just wait for Justin to join in audio, and I'll do the welcome, and then I'll turn it over to you guys. All right. Now that Justin's here, welcome everybody to the Baltimore County Democratic State Central Committee District 6 vacancy interviews. There are 2 positions that are open, and we had 2 applicants. We were joined here today by both applicants, Sharonda Huffman, Lakeisha Hawes, but we also have some special guests, as I understand it. We have Senator Joe Carter, who is on the call here. We also have Baltimore City Democratic State Central Committee members, Tiffany Jones and Sabrina Wiggins. I want to thank all of you and all of our other guests here today and anybody watching on this feed. Thank you very much for attending and watching over today's proceedings. We are looking to, of course, fill these vacancies and have the best candidates possible. And with that in mind, because this is in the district level at this point, I'm going to turn the rest of this meeting over to the district members. I'm going to introduce them one by one for who is here. Radsita Gray is a District 6 member. Corey Edwards is a District 6 member, and Justin Holliday is a District 6 member. Eddie Kreiser is also a District 6 member, but I do not see Eddie on the call. So with that in mind, Sita, Corey, and Justin, you have the floor with, I believe, Ms. Huffman, are you first?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm turning this over to the District 6 team. Everyone else, please go on mute. Obviously, Ms. Huffman, you may take yourself off of mute.
Thank you, Jason. So I guess we can just jump directly into the questions.
Excuse me, Mr. Edwards, do I get the ability to give an opening statement for 2 minutes?
You can if you'd like.
Okay, thank you. I would like to. Good evening. I'm Sharonda Huffman. In the words of civil rights activist Angela Davis, I'm no longer accepting the things I cannot change, but changing the things I cannot accept. To this end, I'm not accepting the Donald Trump style of governing or public lynchings of Black men like George Floyd. So I was compelled to be more involved in the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party platform states, Democrats are the party of inclusion. We know that diversity is not our problem, it is our promise. As Democrats, we respect differences of perspective and belief and pledge to work together to move this country forward, even when we disagree. We do not merely seek common ground, we strive to reach higher ground. I hope to expose more young adults, high school students 16 and above, women, persons with disabilities, and other diverse and underrepresented individuals to the Democratic Party. Further, I reapplied for the Baltimore County Democratic Central Committee to help develop a strategic plan for engagement of new first-time voters, train volunteers in voter registration, start a new Democratic club, establish a scholarship in District 6, recruit talent to increase the party's presence to help do the work, and provide new and innovative ideas to increase revenue. District 6 can be a viable Democratic territory. Let's develop a strategy together to engage voters by some of us going to where they are, places of worship, happy hours, carnivals, union halls, rallies, community centers, long-term care facilities, skate lands, bowling alleys, libraries, and school events. When we perform outreach and engagement, we can also get more signatures for Vote for More. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And with that, we can jump directly into the questions. And let me just pull up. So Ms. Hoffman, looking at the recent election results, what is an inference or conclusion you would draw on the district, and what strategy would you apply to allow Democrats to flip the district in the future?
Thank you for that question. So I kind of led to that in my initial statement. I think it's very important that we start now for the upcoming elections. I think what's really important is we start to engage people who've never voted before. We need to go to a lot of the apartment buildings. Now, sometimes some may say where they're transient, well, sometimes they might just still move into our district. I think that we're used to, doing outreach to our Democrats who have voted in the last 2 elections. Let's go a little deeper. If we have funds available, maybe we can even, when someone registers at the MBA and they decide they want to be a Democrat, let's engage them. Let's send them a thank you card. Let them know who we are and where we are. I think it's very important. We also engage in going into the high schools. I remember I was told that this was an opportunity before. During the most recent election, I didn't wait until I got training from the Democratic Party. I went ahead and got training to be do voter registration myself and also to be a trainer. And I have done that in a few different opportunities within Baltimore City at Morgan State's homecoming, as well as a high school. I had asked to do some of that at the local high schools, but I think we need to start, focusing on that early, go to more community organizations, just to get our name out. I thought it was a great idea. Ed had just recently went to a rally against at Starbucks. That's a great opportunity to meet people where they are, so we can get more people engaged in the party, and also, securing their trust to possibly vote for someone in District 6 in a Democratic. Because right now we don't really have any, representation as far as a Democrat in our district. Thank you.
I have a question for you. Mm-hmm. And I know you've said this before, but I want to reiterate it with specific reasons. And what skills and experience or background do you think you can bring to the Baltimore County Democratic Party that you think we may lack at this point?
Well, I'm just going to be honest. I've only been in the party doing a Democratic Central Committee for 3 months. So I'm not going to say lacking, but maybe there's opportunities for improvement. So I am a certified Americans with Disabilities Act coordinator. So I think that as a party, we need to be more accessible and do more outreach to the disability community because they vote too. So in the recent election, I had worked with Common Cause Maryland. So I would actually go out and make sure that the ballot boxes were in accessible areas. So a lot of our voters, they do vote by mail, but that also includes voting by ballot box. I also have experience in planning events. So I think that we do great job at some of our festivals, but I think internally, I think we could look at some of the other events that we have going on in District 6 and make sure we're doing outreach there. I know that you are a leader over in the church community. I think we can do more engagement on our churches. One of the things that I did with Jason is that I went to a church and did voter registration when they had an event, and that was in a diverse African congregation. Overall, I have some other fresh ideas, like when we're doing, acting as a team. If we have someone who is running for office, let's really do the outreach. I know in District 45 in Baltimore City, I had worked on the campaign that was led by Senator Corey McCray. So he had people all down his ballot. He actually had anybody that was listed on his ballot for Central Committee. They had to do a certain amount of hours of outreach and going door to door. I think that we could, we start planning now, like who's going to be our next city council representative, who's going to be our next delegate, who's going to be our next senator. And then we now need to start doing the groundwork. In addition, I have a lot of planning skills. I'm also working on some strategic plans. I also am good at doing some outreach. We might even want to do some educational opportunities so we get more students and college students engaged in politics and the Democratic Party. I recently spoke to Ian Miller because he has some great ideas about even trying to fill some of the additional vacancies that we have going on now. I have actually personally taken that notification and put it in some of the community groups to get more engagement. So those are some of my ideas. I also have put some ideas also in my application. Thank you for that question.
You're welcome.
All right, I guess I'll ask my question. So I think you brought up District 45. I think that's a great strategy in terms of the hours and things like that for such committee members. So I guess that actually brought a new question in my head. How many first and foremost, which campaigns did you coordinate with, whether it be a legislative District 6 or Councilmatic 7 from the primary to the general election, and how many hours, days, and what activities did you do with those campaigns from the primary election on to the general election, whether that be early voting, election day, and anything in between in terms of get out the vote efforts. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that question. So I actually detailed that all in my application. So I helped with District 45. In particular, my friend is Tiffany Jones, and she's on this call. So I also worked with her. Now I can't tell you the dates now. I'm not that good. I'm 46 years old. Can't say my memory's that great. But I worked with her going door to door into a couple of neighborhoods. In addition, we had did the early voting at the church where I actually took our SUV and we gave out candy and we actually gave some literature out, and that was for the Corey McCray slate. In July, I had also I worked with her campaign team before the election back in May. Let me go back. One of the ideas that I had for Tiffany, since she does have a very competitive district, is that we actually did an online debate. Tiffany Jones has a lot of skills. She went to college for communication. So I learned how to do StreamYard, and we had an online debate for some of for the District 45 delegates. Then in July, of course, came to this meeting. I went to the Democratic Unity Rally on August the 1st. I then also went to the District 6 candidate support meeting in Dundalk on August 27th, where we strategized on some of the activities we could do in District 6. I also volunteered on August 28th at the Maryland State Fair. And of course, I gave out all the literature that was at the fair. On September 10th, I set up as a volunteer at the Towson Fall Center. And I also helped with information regarding the campaign, registering voters, and also vote for 4 more. On September 22nd, I assisted in the Unity Rally. On September 30th, I supported my friend, who is the Prince George's County State's Attorney, Aisha Braveboy, as she had a Congressional Black Caucus event in the District of Columbia. On October the 3rd, I attended the 2022 Maryland Gubernatorial Candidate Forum. On October 4th, I attended a virtual governance forum for Marylanders with disabilities. On October 7th, I had engaged interested voters, Poodles in Politics, and talked about some of the upcoming campaigns. On October 8th, I did voter registration. On October 9th, I did door knocking in District 6. That was the coordinated campaign for Johnny L. Let's see. And then on October 16th, I supported Westmore. I went to the Built Gubernatorial Forum. And then also I did voter registration. On October 18th, I did voter registration. Let's see, and recently in November, I had I don't remember the date, but Linda Dorsey, she had requested that some of us do some sign waving in Woodlawn. I also did, I gave out some literature at some of the early voting campaign sites, but mostly I did voter protection. So I think that's a summary of some of the things I did. I'm sure I missed something else, but I think I've done quite an extensive work for the short period of time I've been here.
All right, thank you.
All right. And can you please describe the demographics of the district and target an area where we can improve focus on the coming years?
Well, it doesn't appear that we have a representative on the Democratic Central Committee in Essex. Our area includes Essex. It actually was a little bit redistricted. Dundalk, a portion of maybe a little slice of Middle River, Sparrows Point. So this area, we probably could target a little bit more in our Turner Station area. We have a high density of African-American population. And they might be first-time voters. I think Rosita has done a great job in engaging that community. And I also would like to help her do that. I also seek to do a little bit more engagement in Essex. And that's something that both myself and the other applicant could do. So I think that when we were strategizing back in, I believe it was August, we talked about trying to develop like a Google sheet or something, talking about the different events. And I think it'll be very helpful if we started to kind of use since we all live in different areas, kind of use all of our resources to try to make a game plan on some of the opportunities we have to engage new voters or existing voters who actually don't come out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Huffman, if you are appointed to the position, would you serve out the full 4-year term?
I absolutely believe I will, but God is in control, and I can't tell what's going to happen to me in the future. But I have lived in Essex since 2004. I have no inkling that anything will happen where I could not fulfill my 4-year term. I do not plan on moving, but like I said, God's in control, and He's only in control of my health or my family's health. Because I do have a family. I have 3 children. One of my children is an adult with a disability, but I do intend on fulfilling my term. This isn't the first opportunity I've had to have some leadership position. So I've had various different offices within my nonprofit organization, and I have fulfilled those terms.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And just for the people who are watching on the YouTube, that was Eddie Kreiser, who came in after I made my introductions, and Eddie's a District 6 member.
Betsy, did you have any other questions? Oh, you're muted. Sorry.
Rosita, you're muted. There you go.
I was just curious, have you ever had any other affiliations with other parties?
No, independent is not a party. So I haven't had an affiliation with any other party. Back under the Ehrlich administration, I was a state employee. And actually, I had to get the help of, at that time, State Senator Frosch, because I was let go under when we had someone who worked in the agency who was seeking to target Democrats. So since then, I have like a phobia. So often I would go back and forth between being an independent candidate and a Democrat. But I've always gave my time, talent, and treasure to the Democrats.
Anybody else with any questions? I got one other question. We mentioned some things about being able to work within the Essex area. Can you give me, Essex, Turner Station, and because to me, out of our areas, I think those are the two that would need the most help. And a little bit of Dundalk as well. And are places that we need to get deeper in. Can you give me some ideas other than what you've already mentioned as to what you feel that we could do?
Absolutely. So one of the things I didn't elaborate on is I was thinking that, and I would have to work with our newly appointed treasurer. One of the outreach strategies that I wanted to use was to really go into the high schools. And one of those ways we can do outreach is even if we had a small scholarship, it could be something that, you know, some of us could just donate to. And so we could have some kinds of access to some of the students. I was thinking, like, my son, he's a high schooler. They always have things at the football game. One of the strategies that I love that Linda does, she just has a book pack and and something to write on. And so that's an opportunity. We're gonna be like, hey, do y'all want to register to vote? And so we're not want to be nonpartisan, but at the same time, you recognize who these people are who trying to engage our younger people. One of the other strategies is since I have been on the Central Committee, I have had a lot of different people requesting information about how they can become more involved. And I think that during this term, I think we can do a little bit more outreach, maybe have some webinars. I would also consider, like, you know, getting some of those tables that they have at the yard sales or something. I mean, even if we, I know we got some merch that Jason's looking at. I mean, just being out there, because I just don't think that enough people see us to know that we're around. So those are some of my opportunities, even with having maybe some kind of activity. Like right now we have one fundraiser. What if we had another one in the District 6 area? I mean, that would be absolutely amazing and put our name on the map. So those are just some of my ideas. And I'm not saying I can do everything, but let me tell you, I have a strong network. Even recently, I have engaged someone who was in Baltimore City, who's now staying in Baltimore County, and she really wants to help, and she was a strong fundraiser. So I'm going to utilize the people I know and the skills they have to make us even better.
Anybody else?
I see Justin shaking his head no. Corey and Eddie, I don't see them with anything further. But Corey?
Yeah,
you came off a mute. That's why I'm asking you.
Just, Sharonda, what local issues that are unique to District 6 are most concerning to you?
Well, I have already brought this up in Baltimore City, so it's a quasi issue. The water treatment system they have over in Dundalk, I mean, it had to be taken over by the state. I do believe that one of the local issues that we should really partner with is there has been some conversation about the Department of Public Works in Baltimore City. There be a regional, I guess, I don't know what they would call it, a Department of Public Works, because what's happening now is that the plant they have in Dundalk, I'm really concerned about the water. I'm really concerned about the pollution. I know that another issue here is, just making sure we have a lot of code enforcement violations. I don't know how to control that, but that is an issue that we need to be mindful of, and just trying to educate our constituents on how to file complaints, know how to, what do you do if, know how to contact the correct official to get some of those things taken care of. Now, I live in Essex, and I don't live in the same housing that Lakeisha lives in, but she lives down the street from me. So I'm a part of that community group, their online group. They're actually going to be starting a new program because we have a lot of rodents in this area. So I think that is a local issue. And I think we're the testers of how that's going to be controlled. So it sounds like there's a lot of public works issues going on here. And I also think that we just overall, locally, I think there could be more engagement by Democrats here, because I did go to the polling places, and I looked at how many Republicans actually came to vote, and how many Democrats did. And then I looked at the analysis of how many people actually mailed in their ballot. Now, Democrats traditionally are mailing in their ballot more than Republicans, but we have to get more Republicans in this area. An opportunity might be at our community colleges. That is a place where people go, and we can come to go to their events too. So just something to think about.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Else have any questions?
If there are no further questions for Ms. Huffman, I'll give District 6. It's up to you whether or not you want to go to a breakout room now to deliberate, or wait till after the second interview. Again, we're interviewing for two positions here. Whatever your choice may be. But before we get to that, so think about that for a couple seconds here. Before we get to that, I do want to acknowledge several other people who have joined us for these interviews. One is our first vice chair, Linda Dorsey Walker. That is Baltimore County Democratic State Central Committee first vice chair. I also want to acknowledge other Baltimore County Democratic State Central Committee members, Bishop Barry Chapman and Dr. Charlotte Wood, who are present here today as well. Bishop Barry Chapman being from District 44B, and Dr. Wood being from District 44A, and Ms. Dorsey Walker being from 11A, and me, the chair, Jason Garber, I'm from District 8. Thank you. And I understand that Tiffany Alston is also here, and she's an incoming delegate as well. So thank you, Delegate-elect Alston, for attending the interviews as well. And with that in mind, District 6, would you like to go into breakout room now, or would you like to wait till after the interview with Ms. Hawes?
Without objection, we will move to go directly into the interview with Ms. Hawes.
I leave it to the District 6 members as to how they want to approach that. When that is done, the process will be, that is when Ms. Hawes' interview is done, you'll go into your breakout room. You guys will discuss whatever you feel you need to discuss. That remains private. When you come back out, each of you will indicate by voice vote separately from one another, that is in order, what the final decision is from each of you per interviewee.
Without objection, we'll go directly into the interview with Ms. Hawes.
Ms. Hawes, are you ready?
I'm ready.
District 6, floor is back to you.
Good evening, Ms. Hawes, and thank you for joining us. And we will give you the same opportunity to do a 2-minute opening statement if you'd like.
Um, sure. My name is Lakeisha Hawes, and I'm seeking appointment to the District 6 Democratic Central Committee. I first learned of the opportunity from Sharonda Huffman, and who gave me an opportunity to get more involved. So we went canvassing that day. I believe it was October the 6th for the Johnny O campaign. And I have been a Democrat since the age of 18 when I graduated from Kenwood High School. Since then, I've attended Morgan State University, and I've also earned an associate degree in criminal justice from Brightwood College. I have a love to volunteer. I'm constantly planning events. I have a love of fundraising and create. Right now, graphic design is my hobby. I'm a security professional, and I'm just so inspired by everything I've seen the Democratic Party do within the last, I want to say, like 3 years. And right now, I'm the president of a nonprofit organization of women who strive to reach all citizens, no matter their station in life, to bridge the gap and make a difference as best as we can.
Thank you. And with that, we will jump into the questions. To make it fair, we will ask, or at least I'm going to ask the same sort of questions. So there's no surprise there. Looking at recent election results, what's an inference or conclusion you would draw on the district, and what strategy would you apply to allow Democrats to flip this district?
Okay, well, I've lived in this house, in this district, for my family integrated this neighborhood. We've been here for 30 something years. You don't really see a lot of people in my neighborhood in particular campaigning. You don't see a lot of people who know that election day is a big deal. And recently, I mean, I'm just horrified at how many people who purposely refuse to vote. And there's too many people that really believe that them voting is not going to make a difference. Them voting, they automatically assume that when you're talking about voting, that you're talking about the presidency. They have no idea that, when you're voting, you must first start locally. And I just really want to educate people on the difference and educate people on how how their voice is needed.
So what are some things that you propose that can be done to do this?
Sometimes you have to reach people where they're at to build them into what you want them to be. So being that they feel like they're not, they don't make a difference, you might have to go into some neighborhoods that you normally would not go into and just have these conversations. Some of these conversations might be tough conversations. Some of these conversations may be eye-opening, but you want to talk to people, like I said, no matter what station of life they're in. So go into every neighborhood that you can. Whether they're slamming doors in your faces or not, the fact that you made the effort is really going to affect somebody, which may bring in more voters.
All right, and I'll also ask the same question out of fairness. So I know you mentioned October 6th, you had been in the district helping with the coordinated campaign as well. Besides October 6th, which other days or events did you attend in District 6, and which candidates did you coordinate with from that time to the general election, including election day and early voting?
That was the only event that I did attend in District 6. But prior to that event, I was just out there registering people to vote. as many people as I can, talking to as many people as I can, and just doing some community outreach, which was much needed. Informing people of the opportunities that are available.
All right, thank you.
That's it.
The questions in which I asked previously, you've already answered, so I'm not going to repeat them.
Eddie, do you have a question?
Yeah, sure. Ms. Hawes, I'll also ask the same question. If selected to the position, would you serve the full 4-year term?
Absolutely. My family has been here, seems like forever. We're not going anywhere. And as long as I'm living here, like I don't know what will happen in the future, but I have no immediate plans on leaving this neighborhood nor this district.
All right, thank you.
I have one different question I'd like to ask, and that's why
Yes,
do you
ma'am.
want on the Baltimore County Democratic Central Committee?
I want to be on the Baltimore County District 6 committee because I want to make a difference. I want to change some of the attitudes when it comes to voting. Like, when you start talking about voting or voting registration, some people immediately give you a negative attitude about it. I want to change mindsets. I want to change attitudes. I want to inform people of their opportunities. I want to inform people of all the resources that are available and let them know that the Democratic Party historically has been not necessarily the savior, but historically the Democratic Party has been a good supporter of some things and different programs that many of the people that are in my district benefit from.
I have another question for you because you and I live basically in the same area. And can you tell me an idea, give me an idea of how you would approach some of these Republicans that are strict Republicans, and it can be very not nice. Go ahead. So
Okay,
how
so
would
one of my one of my gifts, I would say, is the gift of gab. Normally I can have a conversation with anybody. I'm approachable, and I believe that everyone is approachable, no matter how they look on the outside. So first you might want to find something that gives you common ground, and then build upon that common ground into talking about things more difficult. A lot of people get not necessarily traumatized. A lot of people they don't like confrontation. They don't like having difficult conversations, and they tend to shy away from things that are controversial that may or may not make somebody like them or not. Most people will respect you if you're direct. Most people, each party had preconceived notions about the other. Each party has known stereotypes about the other. Find a common ground and just trying to build on the present, which will be that conversation, could move mountains. You can't just write someone off because they believe something different than you. But what you can do is build a bridge and then walk upon that bridge. Hopefully you'll walk, by the end of the conversation, you'll walk hand in hand. If not, then the debate will be something that was meaningful.
At least you
and
tried.
it might change somebody's mind. Exactly. Never be afraid.
Ms. Hawes, the same question. What are some of the issues that are most concerning that are unique to this district?
One is the rodent problem. Like, and there's, okay, there's two specific ones. The rodent problem is getting out of control, which Baltimore County has given people new garbage cans, but they're plastic, and people are worrying whether or not the rodents will chew through the trash cans. And then we have a multitude of stray animals. It's like a cat farm or something that's going on. There's a lot of cats that don't seem to have owners, and we're just trying to figure out how to keep that under control, plus get rid of the rodents without anyone getting harmed, or someone getting sick, or there's tons of garbage in the alley. There seems to be a missing kid phenomenon that seems to be going on with I want to say Middlesex, as well as South Essex. Lately, every time I get a notification, I have the Citizen app. Every time I'm on Facebook, these kids that are just randomly being reported missing, it seems like they're all from my area, and that's concerning. So why, I would like for people to deep dive into that issue. And that's just about it, other than people not wanting to vote. That's concerning. That's it.
Thank you. Justin or Rosita, do you have any questions?
No.
All right. If District 6 is done with their interviews, I will attempt, and I underline the word attempt, put you into a breakout room to discuss whatever you feel you need to discuss. And again, that will remain private. The voting per member will be done publicly. So when you are done in the breakout room, if someone could text me to let me know so I can attempt again to bring you back. Is there any question about the process here before we move into the breakout room?
I have faith in you, Jason, that this can be done smoothly.
I like that. It's good to have optimism. Unplaced, but it's good to still have it. All right. Let me see what I can do here. Is there any question about the process here before we move into the breakout room? I like that. It's good to have optimism. And then one thing I want to check before you go in is, well, after I send you guys in, is to make sure that that's not the one being broadcast. All right. All right.
And I guess if you want to send a text to give us the all clear to.
Right. All right. Now I got to figure out how to send you there. This is the awkward part. Boom. I think I did it. All right, we're good. I'm singing here in the public room with everybody else so they can discuss whatever they need to discuss in private. This is a District 6 decision, whatever the decision is going to be. This is a District 6 decision. Now close on my monitoring of YouTube.
So Jason,
Yes, we are being broadcast on YouTube.
yeah.
Okay.
One of the things that we have coming up in the Owings Mills area is the tree lighting ceremony that's going to be on December 3rd. And if there are people who are interested in helping to capture some more, 4 more signatures, please do contact me. We're going to try to use that public gathering that does attract thousands of people. It's right in front of the south side, of course, in front of the Owings Mills Library. So if you're interested, I've got the 4 more shirts, and you can certainly contact me, Linda Dorsey Walker, at 443-929-0652, so that you can be a participant, helping to gather signatures, moving us closer toward that effort.
And what time is that, so people know?
Yes, it will be at, I think it's at 8 o'clock that it starts. Let me check.
Is that AM or PM?
Oh, it's a tree
It's a
lighting.
tree lighting?
Yeah.
So I guess that would be self-explanatory.
Yeah, so let me get the exact.
People, when I used to run the Towson 4th of July fireworks, the question I loved was always, when do the fireworks start? Like, well, we have a matinee show at 2, but probably you attend the evening one.
I'll give you the answer in just a second. Actually, I think it starts a little earlier than when I said.
I think they may be ready to come back in. I'm just clarifying that.
Yeah, it's being given there. And oh yeah, it's 5 to 8, 5 to 8.
Okay.
So we'll probably gather a little happy hour gathering at one of the restaurants right across the street from where the tree lighting ceremony will take place around 4 o'clock. And then we'll just walk across the street and sort of mix and mingle with the crowd. Lots of music, food trucks, lots of people there, opportunity to make people aware about the interests of Democrats in our community throughout the county. People come from all over, not just from the Owings Mills area, for that tree lighting ceremony. So if you're available at that time, please let me know. Your support would be welcome.
I stated that they may be ready to come back in. No, they were just wondering if it's safe to talk, that it's not popping up on YouTube.
Mhm.
So I had to tell them, yes, I do not see the breakout room on YouTube.
And they do have great hot chocolate.
Sorry?
I said, and they do distribute hot chocolate.
Oh,
S'mores.
this is good. I got to watch myself on delay on video and realize how I sound and look when speaking. There will be some lessons and notes at the end of this. It's good. I get to watch myself on video.
Did anyone else have any announcements they wanted to share? No?
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll
Happy
share.
Thanksgiving to you.
I also do want to thank once again the Baltimore City Democratic State Central Committee members who are here. I think it's wonderful that you guys are supporting Baltimore County's process here and the individual candidates. And I look forward to working with all of you in the future over the next several years. I feel like we should have designed like, intermission entertainment or something during this time frame.
Mm-hmm.
No, there we go. Dad joke. That's perfect. I mean, seriously, that's, yeah, for sure.
So Jason, my daughter just got back from Europe a couple of days ago.
That's great.
Where she was robbed.
That's not great.
In Madrid, Spain.
Really? Oh.
Yes.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully physically she's fine. I mean, I'm not suggesting that, any other damage or injury is of course okay, but she wasn't physically hurt, was she?
She wasn't physically hurt, but we've had to replace everything, phone and IDs and driver's license and you name it. The vaccination cards just to get back on the plane to be allowed to come back home. Everything had to be replaced.
So she got a good tour of the U.S. Embassy.
Huh? Well, the good part is because her friend did not get robbed, we were able to coordinate back and forth with text messages and so forth. And I found out that, thankfully, because of how modern technology is now, if you have at least one person with that capability and enough funds, you can actually get a lot of stuff done in a very short time. So the period that she had to wait to get a lot of these things replaced was down to just a couple of days as opposed to 1 or 2 weeks. So that's a great thing to know.
And she had to spend some extra time in Spain.
Spain, she went everywhere. Portugal, all over Italy, all over Spain. But
it's a beautiful country.
Well, she was everywhere, and they were everywhere. Just decided to just pick up and go. And so
good for them.
Next time go with one of the colleges or universities. I mean, it's fun to be on your own, but
I know this is the awkward silent part. Well, if I were to keep my mouth closed, it would be silent, but
what I've done in the past is I had everyone enter to a waiting room so that instead of having to have a breakout room, I just had everyone go back into the waiting room and do whatever they wanted for like 20 minutes. And we said, come back on at this set time.
I'm going to check in with them if, in a couple minutes anyway. So we'll do it, in like 3 minutes or so. I'll check in via text, not go in, just to see what's happening,
Mhm.
just so we have an idea. Anyone traveling for Thanksgiving? No, no, no.
Mhm.
I'm thinking about anybody who's watching this on YouTube is like, listening to this conversation. And should anybody actually be remaining by now after listening to the conversation? Well, the good news is I didn't hear any of my kids screaming and jumping up and down, above me, which is somewhat of a surprise since it happens every day anyway. Maybe they got it out of their system during the day because, school was closed today.
Mhm. At least it didn't snow the way it did in upstate New York.
Well, I mean,
And
that's
and
a whole other thing.
and in my college town, where we have had you have snow caverns where they actually dig a path. I went to school up near 3 miles from the Vermont border and in the mountains. And so we would have these paths that would be maybe about 3 to 4 feet wide, but on each side, the snow may be piled up 8 feet, 9 feet. And they put water on the outside of each side to keep it from and they have signs up saying, please do not run, shout, scream to cause an avalanche.
Right. Just drive your car into it. That'll be fine. Yeah. So, 77 inches of snow. That's a lot of snow.
They have even more snow at the top of the mountains, believe me.
Oh, yeah. I've never heard of a storm that brings 77 inches of snow.
Mhm. Yeah, in one snowfall, that's a lot. It really is a lot.
I'm just following up now about seeing if they have an estimate on time. Yeah, I don't know why I was silly enough now to say that my kids haven't screamed yet, because it's just going to happen shortly. Yeah. What was I thinking?
I started binging on a brand new show. One that's set in the 1990s about the Amway
Oh,
thing, and only it's called, instead of the product or the company being called Amway, it's called FAM. It's called On Becoming a God in Central Florida.
oh.
And it stars Kirsten Dunst.
Mhm.
And it is really, really good because it shows how people just got sucked in deeper and deeper and deeper and were, misused, and how devastating it was for some households. So in case you want to watch it, I think it's on Netflix.
All right. Well, thank you for the recommendation. And it's called FAM.
No, it's got a really long, strange title, On Becoming a God in Central Florida. It's very weird. about people in Central Florida. They all live right around Orlando, and they're all challenging each other to achieve this dream life that they've imagined will occur if they can become the number one, pitch person for not Amway but FAM.
That's the pro. Okay, got it. I've been told within 5 minutes. So we'll make it 5 minutes before we start up again. So this way, if anybody has to go run to do something, get a drink of water or whatever, you got 5 minutes. So we'll come back at 7:05. We're all good? 7:05? All right. Thumbs up, everybody. Okay.
Hey, Jason.
Yes.
I had internet connection trouble and I got kicked out of the room. So could you put me back in?
Sure.
Sorry about that.
I'm pretty sure it's not your fault. All right. What do we have? Hopefully that doesn't delay something. So hopefully that won't delay anything.
Yeah, really. But another really great show that comes on Hulu is Abbott Elementary School. It is
Not Hulu,
so
but
fun.
I've heard many wonderful things about it. Not to mention, of course, I have to at least be interested because it's in Philly.
It is really, really funny.
And I love the fact that Shirley Ralph is back in doing that because I remember her in the early 80s on It's a Living, if I'm not mistaken, that was the name of the show. And, from my recollection, she largely disappeared. I don't recall anything else off the top of my head that she had been in, but then that is major role, and to win the Emmy Award and to be like this popular is fantastic.
Well, for a while she was on some of the early reality shows,
Explains why it wouldn't cross my radar. I've never seen one.
They're not my cup of tea. But yeah, I know she was on some of them. But yeah, she's very, very good in that show. Very much so.
That's good because to see all the reviews from her performance among many others was great to see.
And the guy that used to play on Everyone Hates Chris,
Yeah.
when he was 12, 13, 14 years old, he's now grown and he's one of the main characters.
Oh, okay. I remember what Terry Crews is on that one too,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone hates Chris. Wasn't he like the dad or something? Maybe I'm
Yeah.
mixed it up. Oh, I see. Yeah, Lakeisha's giving me a nod. Thank you. Terry Crews is funny in basically everything. I'll check in again another minute or two. Oh, never mind. Response. They are ready.
Good.
All right. I'm going to close all rooms and see if that brings them back. And they have 60 seconds to leave their breakout rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Or it self-destructs. I don't know.
It should bring them back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Cedar came back. That's a good sign. Justin's back. That's a good sign. I see Eddie and I see Corey. All right, they're all coming back. Are we waiting for anybody else to show up? I see Sharonda and Lakeisha are here.
Okay.
We ready to go?
Yes.
All right. So again, just so everybody knows who's watching, thinks that anybody is watching, I'm gonna call out each individual member by name. We'll start with Sharonda Huffman, and they will indicate their vote for Sharonda Huffman to move forward. Should the majority decide that any applicant's candidacy should move forward, it will go to the full membership, at which time the applicant will have the ability to address the full Central Committee in advance of a ratification vote to send the nomination then to the governor for approval. That's the process, and that will occur at the December 13th regular meeting. All right, we're on the same page. All right, with that in mind, we'll start. We'll go alphabetically here. Eddie Kreiser, we're talking about the nomination for Sharonda Huffman. How do you vote?
No.
Okay. Corey Edwards, how do you vote?
No.
Cedar Gray, how do you vote? You're on mute.
Yes.
Justin Holliday, how do you vote?
No.
Okay. That takes care of Ms. Huffman's interview process. On to Lakeisha Hawes. Eddie Kreiser, how do you vote?
No.
Corey Edwards, how do you vote?
Yes.
Cedar Gray, how do you vote?
Yes.
Justin Holliday, how do you vote?
Yes.
With that in mind, Lakeisha Hawes's candidacy will advance to the full committee on December 13th for the ratification vote. Ms. Hawes, at that time, you will be able to present again whatever information, background about yourself to the full committee. The members of the full committee will be able to ask you questions, about your background and why you want to be in the committee, more or less, kind of what you've been through here, but it's going to come from those who are not in District 6. And then we'll vote, and the majority will carry the day as to whether or not it moves forward then beyond the Central Committee. With that in mind, I want to thank everybody here today for their participation. I want to thank, I know this has been, some time coming to get everybody here. I'm happy we're all able to be here. And I want to also, once again, thank the Baltimore City Democratic Central Committee members who appeared, as well as Senator Jill Carter, and of course, the Baltimore County Democratic Central Committee members from outside of District 6, particularly Bishop Barry Chapman and Professor Charlotte Wood, and Linda Dorsey Walker, of course, our first vice chair.
Jason,
Yeah.
since this is a situation that I cannot recall ever happening before, I would like for any of the people who cast their votes negative to have an opportunity, if they wish, to express why they did vote the way they did.
And again, I'll certainly allow the request to be made, but it is voluntary on their parts.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody wish to respond? I see Justin shaking his head. I don't see any other favorable response in terms of stepping forward to indicate their vote, why they voted the way they did. I understand this is not something that we have seen certainly not in the recent past. You have more institutional memory than well, everybody.
Well, mine goes back to 1994, and I can't recall this ever happening.
And with that in mind, that will conclude tonight's proceedings. And once again, I want to thank everybody for their participation and for their dedication to this process. Thank you, everybody. And I'm going to end the meeting. Have a good night and happy Thanksgiving, of course, as well.
Thank you.